Okay, hello there. Welcome to the Paper Haven Summer Stamper Stack. You may have watched my other video, my welcome and cutting guide video, or you may not have done. If you are taking part in the class and you haven't watched the earlier video, I do suggest you go back and watch that one because I went through all the guidelines for the cutting of the card bases and extra pieces that you need. So we should have, if you watched that and are crafting along, you should have that all done. I'm Julie Sutcliffe. I'm a Stampin' Up demonstrator in the United Kingdom, and thank you for joining me today. I'm going to start you off very, very easy, very simple today. We are doing this card, but I've changed it up a little bit, as I usually do once I've had a go and made one. We're just going to have some different gems, and this is going to be something else that I'm going to use, but that's all good. That's all good. So what I want you to do initially is take remember you're going to make two of these cards. I'm only going to demonstrate one, but in this video I will be sharing two different styles of cards. So you'll actually be making four from this video. I will only be making two different ones. So we're going to take one of our thick basic white card bases that we prepared, and we are going to cut a background piece to 10.5 by 14.8 to cover, maybe 14.8 in a sniff, to cover the front of the card base. Now this has got this pattern on the back if you are trying to locate. Obviously you've got full sheets of 12 by 12. I had a piece that was actually already cut from when I made this one, so I was good to go with this. So that's all we need for that. So that's 10.5 by 14.8 and a sniff. And then we are going to cut, we're going to cut into this gorgeous piece here, okay, which is just crying out to be made into 6 cards. So what we are going to do, we're going to pop it in the trimmer with the flowers to the left like that, okay, and we're going to cut at 14.8. So again, this is going to cover the whole length of our card. Now keep that to one side because I do believe, oh no, we're not using it for another one. I didn't decide to include that one in this class. I thought it was a little bit too easy. So we now have this sheet that's the full length of our card base. You might want to do it 14.8 and a sniff. Now it's up to you where you cut from. I'm going to check with my ruler because I made this weeks ago. We're just going to cut a little strip that's 6 centimeters across, and I'm going to go from this side this time. So I'm just going to cut a piece at 6 centimeters. Now remember, everything I do, you will do it times 2. That rhymes. Everything I do, you do it times 2. So you'll do it twice. So you would cut 2 of those, and you would have cut 2 of these, and you would get 2 card bases out. So just bear that in mind. You're going to do everything times 2. Now that is really sort of all the cutting we need to do. However, I will keep this out because for those of you who did the cutting guide with me, you may have recalled that we had some little bits like this left over, and I said, hang on to those, they will be useful. Well, instead of doing this in blue, I'm going to do this in white, and I'm going to make use of those scraps that we had from when we cut the bits and bobs down. All right. Okay, so we're ready to do some gluing. I'm using Stampin' Up's multi-purpose glue. Since I've been doing my little short videos that are called Reels on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok actually, the most common, oh, this glue's, I must have picked my old one up, hang on. Let's pick another one. The most, what I was going to say is, the most common question that I get asked is, what glue am I using? Okay. And my answer is, it's the multi-purpose glue by Stampin' Up. I sell it. Or some people commonly refer to it as Tombow because that is the sort of brand. But it is my favourite glue. It allows you just to stick down, manoeuvre slightly if you need to. And there we go, that's stuck on there like that. Okay, so we're going to grab our little piece of white, and I've not even got my stamp set out. Oh man. Okay, so I'm going to use birthday wishes, but you could use a card to say hello, a note of thanks. You don't have to put sending in front, although if you wanted to on this one, you could cut a sending out and pop that across there. But I wanted to keep this one really simple and a really quick card. So I'm going to grab a block. Can't find my little skinny block. I think it's hiding because it's the perfect one for this. Is it block G? Oh, I remembered right, it's block G. So pop your greeting on your desk and then pick it up with your block. Okay. So I'm just going to have a go at stamping it. I'm using Merit Merlot, but basic grey would be fine. I'm going to stamp it on here, but the joy of this is if I get it wrong, I've got a few other, I'm going to come in about 1 centimetre from the edge. I've got a few other pieces. If I don't have a successful, it's a little bit on the wonk. So I might use one of my other ones. I've got loads here. We're good, we've got loads. Right, I'm happier with that. Much happier with that, actually. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pop that on here and see where I need it. Okay, I'm actually going to pop a little bit of glue on the back, but I'm going to not come right to the edge. I'm going to pop this over here and just check that I've got the same distance there and that it's sort of straight. And I'm keeping it close to the bottom because I don't want to cover up these lovely blooms. And then I'm just simply going to turn that over and snip the excess off. Now remember, you'll be doing this twice. I don't know how many times I'll probably say that today. Originally I did it with the blue, but I actually like it with the white because I think it does pop a little bit more. And then I'm just going to glue this down, and I'm going to glue it about just less than 1 centimetre across from the left. Just so we see a little bit of the blue down there. Really simple card. Oh, needs to move up a bit. But I'm going to pop a couple of the lovely little pearls on there. So you've got these, haven't you? Included. And I'm going to use my take your pick tool, which to pop that on there. So I'm going to probably use 3. So pick those up with this. I'm using the putty end. I'm getting into it now. You can tell I'm getting into the take your pick tool. I'm loving it. I don't know why I didn't use it before. And that's card 1. I mean, literally, that was a 5-minute card, you know. Really, really simple card just to have in your stash. Or just to make quickly if you need it. So that's card 1. Obviously, you're going to do 1 and 2. So you're going to make 2 of that. But I've got 2. I've done 2 already. Okay. So please remember, you can rewind. You can stop and pause it and go to the loo. Make a cuppa and things like that. So we are going to press on. And this is going to be my card design number 2, let's say, rather than card number 2, design number 2. And I'm just going to grab my little machine for this. Didn't want to have it out on my desk all the time. Okay. Right. Should we do a little bit of stamping first before we start doing the cutting of the paper? So let's do a little bit of stamping now. Do you remember those 2 full sheets that we had? Well, we're going to use one of them to stamp our sending. And I like to stamp when I'm using a photopolymer set. I like to stamp on a mat like this. We sell it, it's called the Stampin' Pierce mat. And I'm going to use the sending greeting. Oh, does it fit on that block? It just, on an angle, just on a little angle, fits on, is it block H? It is, 2 out of 2, Julie. Okay, it's on a little bit of an angle, but that's fine because we're cutting it out this time anyway. So obviously you will need to do this twice on your paper because you're making 12 cards a day. I'm only making 6. Okay, sending, that's the Merry Merlot. Now, you could actually use the white if you don't have the dies. If you've done the class without the dies, just with the papers, you could use those offcuts to do the birthday wishes, or the love and big hugs, or you could use some of the papers, which is what I like to do. Now, when I cut a piece down, I actually had this little strip left, which is actually the perfect width to stamp the love and big hugs. But it's probably a little bit narrow to cut the die out. So I'll show you the die that I used. Anything goes, you can do what you want to do. But when I made the original card, I used that die. It's actually a little bit, the paper's just a little bit too narrow for the die. So you can use, you know, go to a full sheet or a smaller piece and cut that out if you want to. I actually, just for ease, might actually just use this and cut it myself. But when I did the original design, just to show you here, I've die cut this and then stamped the love and big hugs on it, and I've tucked it under there. So there's always alternative ways of doing things if people haven't got all of the products, and I like to show those alternatives. So I'm going to do sending a note of thanks because I feel like those are the types of cards that I like to do, because I end up with a lot of cards and I like to put them in my customer thank yous. So sending a note of thanks, and I'm actually just going to pop it on here. There we go. Bingo. And I'm just going to snip that like that. This is what I had left when I trimmed down my paper. I just happened to have a little bit left. You could, you know, you could use any scraps that you've got, but I liked to use the stamping on the paper. Okay, so we've stamped our sending. Yep. And I'm just going to cut that out of here. Just cut it out from the big piece. We've stamped our sending and we've stamped our note of thanks, and now we need to do some cutting out. Okay, let's grab the paper. Okay, so the piece that I'm going to use is this gorgeous piece here. As you can see, I've already cut into it to make this card. And I use this flower here, so you have got enough, but you could use a paler one, same shape, that would work just as beautifully. So there are dies in this bundle if you did want to purchase it. I don't have them, but I'm going to cut this gorgeous flower out. And then I'm going to use these two leaves here, or it might be easier to get these two here. Now when I cut out, just move that out of the way. When I cut out, I like to leave a little bit of white space around the edge of the image that I'm cutting out. Just like that. Obviously, you'll have to cut 2 lots of leaves out and 2 flowers. There we go. Now this is the one where you need the squares that I provided. Okay, we need that as well. So before we get to that, we are going to cut out our sending. And I'm using my mini cut and emboss machine, which is my little go-to rather than the big one. I don't get the big machine out unless I actually need it. Now you have 2 dies here. If you've got the dies, you've got the really thin sending, which is good to cut it out when you've not stamped it and you're just basically cutting some coloured card out. Then you've got the sending that creates a little bit of a border. So we are going to use that one. And you pop it in, and it would be handy. It's handy to have a little bit of washi tape or something like that, or a post-it note to hold it in place. Because they can move. So I just like to take my time doing this. Excuse me. So I like to do a bit when it's quite a long word, really, a longish die. So I'll just give it a little bit of attention on the left as well, and then pop it in. Through we go. You know what I'm going to say? You're going to do this twice. Move that out of the way. Carefully peel the tape off. Be very careful. And then pop the word out. And there we have the lovely sending. Very nice, very nice. So we've got that all sort of ready to go. I'm not going to put that together until I make the card up. So we've done all the sort of topper, as it were. We've created everything for that now. So we can put that to one side, and we're going to cut the pieces behind. So what you need for this, you will need 2 of your balmy blue card bases. I'm only taking 1. And then you need 1 of the larger white pieces that you cut. This is 10 by 14.3. And it's going to sit there. And you can actually glue that down now. You can go for it and glue it down. Okay, so I've stuck that down. We can put that to one side and we can bring in our papers. Now, I've chosen to use my 2 favourites, and they're actually on the reverse of each other. Don't think I've got much of it left. I've made most of my cards with it. Okay, and this is my favourite, but I also love that. Okay, so we are going to do a card that's very similar to this, but the design is the other way. So what we're going to do first, you will have a full sheet of 12 by 12. I haven't got a full sheet left. So what I'm going to advise you to do to make this one is cut a strip, a long strip, with the pattern in the correct way up, because we're going to cut vertically because we want it going this way up. Okay, so I want you to cut it at 4.6 centimetres, a full long strip. And I'm just working it out in my head. So 8 and 8 is 16 plus 11 is 20. Yeah, you should have enough, because this is 30.5 centimetres. Now, because mine's not a full sheet, I won't have enough to do it. All right. So what you need is you're going to cut a full strip at 4.6. Just ignore sort of what I'm doing because I don't have a full sheet left. But I'm just going to... Right. And then what I want you to do is put your full strip in. Mine isn't a full strip. And cut 2 of them at 8 centimetres. So 1 and 2. Okay. So they're the same size. 2 at 8. Okay. Then flip the strip over. Now, remember, I don't have a full long strip, so I'm going to cut another one just to pretend I do. Now, you've cut 16 centimetres off so far, so you should have 15 and a half, you should have 14 and a half left, so you've plenty. So this is maybe what you've got left. So we're going to put this in and we're going to cut 2 at 5.5 centimetres. So we cut off initially. Now, remember though, this is just for one card. So you will do it again for the second card. So I'm going to show you that now. I'm going to put it all together and show you what I mean. So that was the 4.6 by 5.5. This was the 4.6 by 8. And then this one fits in here, the 4.6 by 8. And then this one fits in here, the 4.6 by 5.5. And we make that lovely little pattern. All right. Now we can actually now pop that on here. Bish, bash, bosh. So you will end up with a little white layer all the way around because of the measurements that Julie calculated for you. So we'll do one side first. Oh, it seems a shame to cover that up. Got a bit of glue there. Okay, then we have that background. Oh, that moved. That doesn't look good, Julie. Okay, then we have that background, yeah? So I've got my original design here and my new one. Then we're going to bring in our square. Now, this is going to be layered up with some foam pads or dimensionals, as we love to call them at Stampin' Up. Well, that's our trade name for them, because they add dimension. It does seem a shame, but we are going to cover up a little bit of our paper. So what I would do is eyeball at this side that it's equally distant, and then sort of eyeball up here that it's equally distant and it's straight. And then I just put it together. So we're going to put our leaf down there. I'm going to put our flower there like that. The sending will go here. We're creating a little sort of collage. And then the note of thanks is sort of going to tuck under there. Okay, and then we're going to add some little gems. So what I'll probably do first is glue the leaves down and then the flower. Now using this glue does allow you a little bit of time to wiggle and maneuver and move it, and that's why I love it. That's why I love this glue. And I'm going to pop this in place. I've done this a different way to how I did it before. I actually put the sending on first before, but this time, yeah, that's fine. And then I'm going to add the sending. Now, it's not glued down right to the end because it does overhang the square slightly. But make sure the bottom of the G and the top of the S, you've got a bit of glue on that. And then we're just going to overlap it a little bit. There we go. Okay. And then finally, we're going to bring in our gems and we're going to add 3 on. There we go. And there I have my 2 cards. So I've done design number 2, but it's card 3 and 4. Yeah. Hope you like. So we've been about half an hour doing that, but obviously that's about right because you've got 2 extra cards to make, but I've allowed an hour for each video. So the next video will go up live at 3 p.m. So it gives you a chance to make 2 of each and then come back to do design number 3 and design number 4 with me at 3 p.m. So I will see you back here at 3 p.m. See you then. Bye.